create a massive global hoax.
What Ernie's referring to is the Apollo 11 moon landing that supposedly took place on July 20th, 1969.
To quote Neil Armstrong, this is one small step for man
and one giant lie to mankind.
Poor inept NASA couldn't get a rocket into space.
So they turned to Plan B.
I'm LBJ. Boo! The end of the decade is here, and there's still no Americans on the moon. Those Ruskies are gonna beat us to it.
I'll help you, Mr. President.
Who the hell are you?
I'm Stanley Kubrick, and I'll use some tricks I learned while filming the movie 2001, A Space Odyssey, to fake a moon landing.
And your co-pilot are 250,000 miles from Earth, guiding your spacecraft down to the surface of the moon. A third member of the flight crew in another spacecraft is maintaining a lunar orbit until you return for the journey back to Earth. What this spacecraft looks like and how it operates is our story today on Science Reporter. I'm John Fitch, MIT Science Reporter. The Lunar Excursion Module, or LEM. This is the spacecraft which will carry 2 astronauts from a lunar orbit to the surface of the moon and back up again.
This is a full-scale mock-up of the Lunar Excursion Module.
Well, if this will never fly, why do you have to build such a full-scale model?
Well, we need an accurate model in order to check the fit and installation characteristics of all our equipment and also to practice all the operations with the spacesuited astronauts. Now, up at the front of the vehicle is the rendezvous radar antenna. This is also steerable, and it's used to aim at the command and service modules during the ascent and track them throughout the rendezvous maneuver. The thermal shielding is the shiny skin that you see on the left there. It's used to insulate the spacecraft to protect it against the temperature extremes in outer space. It also serves as a bumper against the tiny micrometeoroid particles. Directly up here is one of the 4 reaction control jet clusters. There are 4 small rocket engines in each of the clusters.
Each of those little ones is a rocket engine?
Yes, they're 100 pounds thrust each, and they can fire very short impulses. They're used to maneuver the spacecraft and position it in whatever attitude we desire.
Well, how soon will the astronauts be able to actually fly these limbs?
Well, they'll never be able to fly an actual limb on Earth due to the difference in the strength of the gravitational field on Earth as compared to the Moon. The limb doesn't have enough thrust to actually fly on Earth, even though it can fly very well on the Moon. So much of our flying and practice landing will have to be done in simulated flight conditions and in carefully controlled simulations.
I'll tell you how it works. The pilot stands in the flight station, and he moves the controls and works through a computer, which is an analog computer in another room, which in turn flies a television camera over a lunar map, which is in another room.
Oh, and then you see the output of that camera here.
Yes.
So that as you move it looks like you're
Fly the
lighting a
camera.
Is it very realistic?
It's realistic, yes. It's a 6 degree of freedom simulation.
The first landing of this LEM on the Moon will certainly be one of the brightest chapters in the relatively short history of manned spaceflight. Leonardo da Vinci, who visualized man's flight 500 years ago, experienced the same fever when he wrote, "For once you have tasted flight, you will walk the earth with your eyes turned skyward. For there you have been, and there you long to return." This is John Fitch, MIT science reporter.